Today we're going to talk about the Bohr model of the atom. Now, the Bohr model of the atom is the one where it's set up kind of like a solar system. Now, from watching our video last night, we should have seen that the Bohr model is no longer an acceptable use for atomic theory. But we can still use it to get some basic concepts of the atoms, and that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so what I have here is I have a nucleus in the middle, and I have the energy levels working their way outwards. We'll deal more with the energy levels when we talk about periodic trends next week. The atom I want to be dealing with today is, let's go ahead and work with phosphorus. Phosphorus is represented with the abbreviation P. So this is our nucleus. The nucleus is going to contain protons and neutrons. Okay, they're the massive parts of the atom. So anything that has a lot of mass is going to be stuck to the middle. It's going to be in that nucleus. Around that, in these energy levels, that's where we're going to find our electrons. Okay, so these two are the nucleus. And then outside in the orbitals, we have electrons. Okay, simple things we need to know about these. They have charges. Okay, a proton has a charge. The proton's charge is going to be positive. The neutron, it has no charge. It's neutral. And the electron has a negative charge. Now, when I write electrons, I'm going to write it with an E negative. That E negative, the E stands for just elemental unit, because electrons are really, really tiny. They're an elemental form of matter. So we have elemental, and then it's a negative form of elemental matter. Okay, so I'm going to represent those throughout as we go out through the energy levels. Now, with phosphorus, it has how many protons? That's a good question. What I have to do is I have to look at the periodic table. When I go to the periodic table, now I'm going to go up top because I have a periodic table up here. We're going to scan it there real quick, Zach. Thank you, sir. So I've got a periodic table up here. You can't see that from there, but you'll all have your own periodic tables. And I can see that phosphorus has a periodic number of 15. What that tells me is it has 15 protons. There's 15 protons packed into this nucleus. It has a mass number of 31. Okay? There's only two things that have mass that really matter, and that's protons and neutrons. If 15 of that is protons, that means the remaining 16 is going to be neutrons. Now, we're going to talk more about later on about things like AMUs, which is an atomic mass unit, and just mass in general later on, but we're not quite to that yet. So in our model, I've got 15 protons and a mass of 31 stuck here in this middle. If you can't read that, that's not that big of a deal. All right, now what I'm going to do here is now I've got to put electrons into my model. Now, we haven't spent a lot of time yet on the periodic trends, so I know you're not going to be fully following me here. Just watch what I'm doing here. You're going to see some things that I'm doing, and eventually they'll make sense. I'm just going to put them on here. Just follow what I'm doing, and we'll eventually get there. Okay. I will always write my electrons start off to the right. Phosphorus has a grand total of 15 electrons. How do I know it has 15? Well, my positives have to match my negatives. So if I have 15 positives, I should have 15 negatives. Otherwise, the thing would shock me. So we need it to be electrically neutral. So I have to write 15 electrons in here somewhere. So my first two, they go right to the right. And we'll explain that again later on why exactly I do that. Okay, but I have 2 in the first energy level. The second energy level can have up to 8. So I write 2 here. And then watch what I do. Again, I'm not going to explain it, but watch what I'm doing. I write my first 2, then I do 1 each, all the way around, which gives me a grand total of 5. And then I come around again, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 in the second energy level. So I have right now a grand total of 10 electrons. So I need 5 more. Where do my first 2 go? Right off to the right. So now I have 12, 13, I want to go counterclockwise, 14, 15. I'll explain later why we have to fill those rooms. But this is what a Bohr model looks like. So it's a pretty simple model. Even though at times you're like, why am I doing some certain things? But when we build our models on Wednesday, you'll be able to see this. So make sure you're taking notes on this. Make sure you're copying what this looks like, and we'll see you